Imagine standing on a frozen coastline where the sun barely rises, the wind cuts like a knife, and every breath feels sharp enough to hurt. Temperatures drop far below anything most people will ever experience. Snow covers everything. The ocean itself turns to ice. And yet, for thousands of years, a remarkable people not only lived here, they thrived. But how? How did the Inuit survive in a place where nature seems designed to kill? How do you hunt when your world is frozen? How do you stay warm when the cold can take your life in minutes? And how do you build a home where there is no wood, no shelter, no soil? Today we explore one of the greatest survival stories in human history and discover the incredible techniques, knowledge, and courage that allowed Inuit communities to master the Arctic world. But first, ask yourself this. If you were suddenly dropped into the Arctic with nothing but your bare hands, how long would you survive? A day? An hour? The Inuit did it for millennia. Long before modern technology, the Inuit learned to read the land, a land without trees, without crops, and without mercy. They adapted every part of their lives to the cold. Their homes, their tools, their clothing, their traditions. Everything was shaped by ice, snow, and wind. Their knowledge was not written in books. It was passed from one generation to the next through stories and hands-on teaching. Because in the Arctic, knowledge was not just wisdom, it was survival. Let's begin with something simple: warmth. How do you stay warm in temperatures that can drop to -40 degrees Celsius or even -60 degrees Celsius? The answer begins with clothing, and the Inuit perfected it. They created what many scientists call the warmest traditional clothing on Earth. Their secret: layers of caribou and seal skin. Caribou fur traps warm air better than any synthetic fabric today. Its hollow hairs create insulation so powerful that a well-made Inuit parka can outperform modern winter gear. They wore 2 layers, a soft inner layer with fur touching the skin, and a tough outer layer with fur facing outwards to block the wind. Boots, mittens, and hooded parkas were all designed not just to warm the body, but to recycle the heat from every breath. And here is something you may not know. Inuit mittens were intentionally oversized. Why? Because squeezing your fingers together generates more warmth than gloves ever could. But warmth alone cannot sustain life. You need food, and lots of it. The human body burns massive amounts of calories in frigid environments. So how did the Inuit find food in a frozen world? They became masters of the hunt. They hunted seals through breathing holes in the ice, waiting motionless for hours. They tracked caribou across vast white landscapes. They caught fish in frozen waters using bone and ivory tools. They followed the migration of whales and used kayak and harpoon skills perfected over generations. Seal meat provided protein. Whale skin provided vitamin C, essential for preventing scurvy. Caribou provided fat and warmth. Everything had a purpose. Nothing was wasted. Even the bones and sinew became tools, needles, and weapon parts. Think about that. Could you feed yourself in a world with no farms, no shops, and no plants at all? Now, let's look at shelter. Because in the Arctic, you cannot survive long without it. Most people know about the igloo, but few understand how brilliant it actually is. An igloo isn't just a snow dome. It is a carefully engineered structure with perfect airflow, insulation, and stability. Hard-packed snow contains tiny air pockets that trap heat. Inside an igloo, the temperature can rise from -40 degrees Celsius outside to around 0 degrees Celsius inside, warm enough to survive comfortably. A small oil lamp made from seal fat acted as a heater, a light source, and a cooking stove all in one. Here is the genius. The entrance tunnel was built lower than the living area. Cold air sinks, warm air rises. This trapped the warmth inside the igloo like a natural thermal system. Would you ever have imagined snow, the very thing that freezes you, could also keep you alive? The end it did. And in places without good snow for igloos, they built houses from driftwood, whalebones, and sod, using whatever the land provided. Navigation in the Arctic was another life-or-death skill. There are no roads, no forests, no landmarks. The world is an endless white mirror. Yet the Inuit navigated thousands of kilometers with unmatched precision. They read the stars. They memorized the shape of distant mountains. They recognized ice patterns, wind-carved snow ridges, and the behavior of animals. Some Inuit could even tell direction by the feel of the snow crystals under their sleds. Imagine that level of awareness. Could you find your way home in a land where everything looks the same? Speaking of sleds, the Inuit transformed mobility across the Arctic. Their dog sled teams allowed them to travel quickly across frozen landscapes. Dogs were companions, protectors, and partners in survival. Without them, many hunts would have been impossible. And then there's the kayak, one of the most efficient boats ever designed, still admired by engineers today. Light, fast, and silent, it was perfect for navigating icy waters and for stalking prey. Every tool, every structure, every piece of clothing had a single purpose: to make life possible in a world that seems impossible to survive. But survival wasn't only physical, it was also spiritual and communal. The Inuit developed deep respect for the animals they hunted and the land they lived on. They believed that taking from nature required gratitude and balance. They shared what they had, because in the Arctic, selfishness meant death, not just for the individual, but for everyone. Their stories, songs, and traditions were built on lessons of resilience, cooperation, and respect. Knowledge was taught through stories, so it would never be forgotten. Because forgetting, in a place like this, could cost your life. Their survival was no accident. It was the result of intelligence, adaptation, creativity, and deep connection to the land. Next time you feel a cold wind or complain about winter weather, think about the Inuit, the people who carved out a life in a place where most of us wouldn't last a day. Their story isn't just about surviving the cold. It's about understanding it, mastering it, and thriving where no one else could.